Is spending 50 of take-home pay on housing a bad idea? TLDR after-tax household income per month is $9,900. Is getting into a $5,200 house payment a terrible idea? My fiancé and I are hoping to buy a house within the next 2 years, but we live in a very expensive area, California, and I'm not entirely sure it's a good financial plan. We are 26 and 28 years old, if that matters. Combined pre-tax income is $212K a year. I make $118K and fiancé makes $94K. I'm a software engineer and less than 2 years into my career and expect to have a lot of income growth, but fiancé will not have as much income growth, like maybe 2 a year on average. Both credit scores are over 750. We have zero debt, and our car will probably last at least 5-7 more years, so we're not expecting to go into any debt for that anytime soon. Thankfully we're doing a small, relatively affordable wedding that our parents are covering the cost of. We each have retirement savings, between $400 and $1K Roth IRAs. I have $37K and he has about $70K. We have an additional $22K combined in emergency savings. On a 2-paycheck month, which is 10 months of the year, we take home about $9,900 after tax, retirement, and health insurance. Here's our monthly expenses. Rent $3,315. Utilities $150. Food, household stuff $800. Dog stuff $250. Gas, car insurance $250. Unexpected or miscellaneous $200. Down payment savings between $3,000 $3,500. The rest is spent on unnecessary stuff like travel, eating out, etc. $1,500. Right now we have $43K in high-yield savings specifically for a down payment. So if we keep this up, in 1.5 years we should have around $105K saved for a down payment and closing costs. I've calculated what our monthly payment would be using Zillow's affordability calculator. I assumed a mortgage interest rate of 4, which is probably too low, but I'd how much they can vary, of $400 since this will likely be a condo or townhouse, and a down payment of $90K, and 1 property tax, and debt to income of 30. It says we can afford an $840,000 house. Our monthly payment including PMI, HOA, taxes, and insurance would be $5,200, which is over half our take-home pay. We don't really want a house much cheaper than that, probably $800,000 at the lowest, because anything cheaper would be either too small, like a 1-bedroom condo, or a mobile home, or something that needs to be torn down. So I wanted to get people's opinions on this. Can we plan on buying an $800K house in 1.52 years, or do we need to save longer or lower our expectations or move somewhere else? You're going to have a hard time finding a 4 loan, and an even harder time just finding a loan when your payment is more than 50 of your take-home. I got a 4.25 interest rate with an 800 credit score 15 months ago. That's not happening today, so jack up the rate to about 7, and that's a more realistic estimate of what you can get approved for. If you're able to save $3.5K on top of rent, $3,315, that together will cover $5,200, but it's doubtful that you'll get 4, and also forgetting property taxes and any potential upkeep. It's a very tight squeeze, and in your shoes, I would save for bigger down payment before purchase. I'm in CA as well, Bay Area. My wife and I bring home more than you, and our mortgage is less than yours, and it still feels tight. I advise against this unless the incomes go up. A $5,200 mortgage is going to feel like a boat anchor at your income. Wishful thinking. You can't just pick a perfect interest rate to make the math work. Rerun your calculations at a realistic rate of 7. If anything, you should be on the conservative side to make sure you can afford most of your housing on one income. Lots of uncertainty ahead in America. Don't live house poor. $150 on utilities? Wow, that's crazy low. Do you plan on having kids in the next few years? If so, factor that in the budget. Surprised no one else is saying that $2,300 for food and household stuff, eating out and traveling monthly is what's killing you too here. That is going to be the first bucket to be slashed. You'll have to eat in more, cut back on travel and probably meal prep for work. Even if you don't, that is a huge opportunity to save some dollar. If one of you lost your job and took a while to find another one, you're going to panic really quickly. You are cutting it too close. Generally you want to spend no more than $30-35, but personally I'd be willing to go up to $40 in a desirable place. Yeah, it's too high, but that's the market nowadays. Don't look at renting as throwing away money. You are getting a place to live plus saving $2,200 a month. A house payment that fat really needs a $13K take-home income. I'm at $8K take-home and am all in with everything including HO at $2,300 a month for my house. That feels plenty expensive for me. I couldn't imagine forming over more than half of my take-home. I would look to move somewhere where your salary can get you a fantastic upper-middle-class home. Where are you getting a loan in the 4 range? Every bank I've tried lately is 6.5. 52 of your monthly income for your mortgage is just not smart. You're only one car accident, health event, major life change, away from going bankrupt. Don't buy a house unless you are married. Legal headaches are massive. Industry standard is maximum of 28% of gross income is to be allocated to PITI. Some lenders may stretch his guideline, but 50 is too high. It would be irresponsible for a bank to approve you. I think you are low on what you think HOA fees will be. Have you started going to open house or looking yet? Way too high of a house payment for your current income. The real cost of ownership will end up being more and you'll start to struggle to pay for things. Me personally, I think you'd need to make roughly $13K a month to afford a $5,200 payment. Pre-approval calculators will say you can afford about $50 take-home if your credit is good. But it's also a dumb calculation that doesn't understand people like to eat or do anything else. A $50 mortgage on the face of it seems high. Also $4 seems low. That said, if you are saving $20 for retirement, you are not shortchanging your future. Do you think you can keep that up if you choose to have children in the future? Kids are a huge expense and can easily cost thousands more per month in daycare, diapers, and formula. Just do your due diligence and don't take risks you have not measured out first. A financial advisor would be a good resource for you. I'd only spend what you could on one income instead of two in case one of you loses your job. In my opinion, that's too much. You don't make enough for that size of a mortgage. There are other costs that come with the home ownership and your overall cost will be more than $5K per month. I would not do it. Way too much, and for me, it would feel like an anchor. My wife and I make more than you two and would not take that much monthly mortgage payment. But again, that is my opinion. That is a very high level of mortgage, even at your income. Additional expenses, like buying cars, or someday needing daycare, or even unplanned repairs will put you in a very tight spot. I would look for starter options, like condos that will help you ease into the housing market. Buying small, then letting the capital gains of the first property help you purchase the bigger property as you need the more space. I'd look at smaller places, and/or looking further out of downtown. Only time spending more than 30 of income on housing is manageable is when you start clearing $400-500K. At that point, you are talking $15-20K per month, and even after spending half of that on housing, there is still $10K left, for example. You guys are not at that level yet, unfortunately, and I strongly advise against this.